So I had a conversation with someone in college, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was asking him what his dad does for a living because he drives a brand new car. It was like a BMW M3, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I don't know that much about cars and BMW specifically. Anyways, so I was talking to him about it and I was like, what does your dad do for a living, man? Like, how do y'all afford this such a nice life? And he was like, I'm going to be so honest with you. We have like a really boring business. And that got me going, like that, perked me up. I was like, what? What's the dumb business? Y'all collect trash? Y'all do valet trash? Like, well, what do you do specifically? And he was like, yeah, we own parking lots. You know, the parking lots next to like sporting events and things like that? Like, they owned parking lots. And I was like, dude, like, what do you mean? Like, do y'all really make that much money? He's like, yeah, we make $20 million a year. $20 million a year on parking lots? That's an awesome business. And those mundane businesses that you drive by every single day and you're like considering like, you don't even think about them. But in the back of your mind, you're like, this sucks. When you have to go pay for parking, when you go to a basketball game, you hate it. But when you think about the opposite side, you're like, dude, this guy just like scammed me for $35 to park my car a quarter mile away from the stadium. Like, that's such a freaking genius idea. Like, that I wouldn't have, like, on the normal days thought about.
Yeah. The biggest question is, how do I sign up, guys? And this business may sound boring. It may sound so simplistic. It may sound insane. But imagine every time, especially if you live in a big city, imagine every time you go to a downtown event, maybe a basketball game, a football game, or maybe you go to a baseball game or whatever. There's always a parking garage where the parking fee is $50, or maybe even on certain events it's $100, right? Every single time. Now I can only imagine how much a lot of these people make and the net profit, because you're not doing anything. Some of those places even have automated machines to the point to where they're able to just automate the whole system, but they just got to keep up with the maintenance, and of course there's other different things you got to do. But as a whole, this business idea is making people millions, if not billions of dollars across the entire world. It is insane.
Do you own any parking lots?
No, I would love to own a parking lot.
Okay.
So the parking lots in Nashville, most of them are brownfield, which means there was a contaminant on them, oil or whatever from different industries, and they couldn't build on them. So the guy bought them all up, turned them all into parking lots, and has made billions off of those parking lots.
Jeez.
And it was just ground that they couldn't use for anything else for a period of time. Turn them into a parking lot. You go to Nashville right now, it's $35 an hour for parking one of them places. I don't have any parking lots, but I'm envious of people who do. Great cash flow in a parking lot.
Cash flow.
Yeah, imagine how much they got to pay on property taxes. Of course, you layer in that. I'm sure maybe if you got a mortgage, like, I don't know. There's just many different ways, but I don't think it's an industry that you can just buy into, of course, without becoming unprofitable. Because, think about the land that it costs to buy in an area that is like downtown or in the cities like Nashville is what he was talking about. Like, yes, that's very, very competitive areas and they're very specific to a specific niche. But even still, people are just buying garages. They're buying other different things and then turning it to many other businesses. I'm just curious. I mean, we're just talking about business today. We're talking about how to make money, especially in today's economy where everybody's really pretty much going through the same thing in some sort.
It's officially been 1 year since I opened my parking garage here in New York City, and here's how it's been going. I won't reveal exactly what we did this year in revenue, but just know it was a solid year. What I will say is we did have just about $400,000 worth of expenses this year. And in terms of major accidents or incidents, we've had none. We've handled over 3,500 transient tickets in the past year, plus all of our monthly clients. And across all of that volume, we've had 0 major incidents. With our monthlies, we've only had 2 minor scratches, which were both resolved immediately. And because my relationship with my body shop is strong from running the car rental business, I always get great pricing and flawless repairs from them. And if we ever needed to place someone in a rental car while something was being handled, we had those ready as well. As for customer retention, people only leave when they move, never because of bad service or unhappiness, and that's something we take pride in. Now, for managing employees for the first time, that actually went pretty well. I think there's more I could have done in terms of check-ins and structure, but turnover wasn't all that bad, and I'm definitely seeing as we expand, I'm going to need someone dedicated to HR. But this entire first year, we actually operated with no parking lifts and things were fine. When I first got quotes, they were coming in at around $17,000 per lift installed, and at the time, it just wasn't worth it. But eventually, we were able to pick up 2 lifts for a great price, and we moved them indoors to maximize space and efficiency. Customers who pay for indoor parking pay a premium, so it only makes sense to maximize those dollars and keep the lifts inside. Overall, it's been a great year, and I'm excited for what's next, so make sure to check out my next video on the changes we're making and where we're headed from here.
Yeah, and I'm slightly confused on the business. I don't know if he just stores cars or he transported them, or I'm so confused. It sounds like it was a parking garage at first, but maybe it's not a parking garage. Whatever. People have many different, like, insane different business ideas. So shout out to him. I mean, he's finding a way around it in the state of New York, or city of New York, whatever the case is. But guys, this is the reality of how people are finding different business ideas. People are being creative, and this has been a thing for a long time. Let's not act like this is a brand new, situation where people are just now getting into this business. But at the same time, it's a boring, and I like boring. I don't care if it's boring. I like just long, steady, boring, because if it's boring, that means the cost of entry is lower. Well, no, in this situation, the cost of entry is probably a little bit higher because you got to get the land, you got to get the property, like all these different, it's layers, right, to get into the business. But at the same time, once you are in, and if you're in a prime location, all these different layers factor in as well. But yes, this is what is going on, and check this video out as well.
2002, my husband and I bought 2 buildings and a parking lot in our hometown in the Midwest for $7,500. Here's how it happened. Okay, so there are public records online where you can just look up who owns buildings, right? So as I'm driving around my hometown, if there's a building that we pass and it hurts my feelings, like it's blighted, it's gross, I just look up who owns it and I write them a quick letter. The letters say something along the lines of, hey, my name's Tiffany. I'm interested in knowing if you would sell your property at this address. Call or text me at this number if you're interested. Thanks so much. And it's short and sweet. So when we first started this letter writing process, I used to write these super long, flowery, stupid letters that no one read, that talked about our family and our mission and our love for our hometown, and no one responded. I get about 70% response rate on these like short and sweet letters. So when I wrote this letter, I actually had 2 years, my husband and I, of some local press around us revitalizing some old buildings. So this guy called and he said, hey, Tiffany, I got your letter. I'm like, oh, great. And he said, I know who you are. I'm like, oh, great. And so he says, I would actually love to meet you at the building and show you around. Perfect. So we go and look at it. My husband's checking out like all the mechanicals and all the things, and pretty much everything needs replaced, right? There'd been 2 fires in the building, and so at the end I said, okay, would you sell it? He was like, yes. And I said, okay, how much would you want for both the buildings and the parking lot? And he said, do you think 75 is fair? And I said, sure. At 75, I can probably find someone in town to buy these buildings and do something with them. I don't know. And I said, just to clarify, what's 75 mean? And he said, 7,500. So I said, okay, yeah, at 7,500, I am confident I can find someone to buy these buildings and bring them back to life. So fast forward to us getting in the car afterwards, and Mark said, I know you asked how much does he want for him. I said, he wants 75 for both buildings in the parking lot. Mark goes, okay, $75,000. We can find someone to love on this neighborhood, on these buildings. We can do this. Let's go. And I said, Mark, he wants $7,500 for the parking lot and the 2 buildings. And Mark said, oh, geez, we're buying the buildings. So we did. So after closing costs and all the stuff, we spent less than $10,000 cash to get these 2 buildings and this parking lot. We took it to the bank and we said, okay, hey, we need money to like bring these back to life. I don't know. And they had them appraised, and they said, hey, they appraised at $80,000 as they sit today. So we'll give you $130,000 to go and start renovations. And we were like, okay, how much do we need to bring, like when we close on the loan? They were like, nothing, you own the buildings. And I go, it's magic? He goes, yeah, it's magic. So that was the first time we experienced real estate magic. And so we got to work. We spent that $130 something thousand and brought the downstairs of the big building back to life, and then brought a tenant in the back building. And we have a barbecue restaurant in the back, which is fantastic. It's a food desert. And in the big building, we made it into an event space where people can have like birthday parties, and there's been like different offices that meet there for meetings and stuff. And then in the afternoon, in the evenings, it's actually rented by a local nonprofit that hosts after school programming and gives free dinners to the kiddos in the neighborhood. So cool. Those properties now bring us in around $4,000 a month. They're fully tenanted, they're open and activated for the community. They have windows that are not boarded up, they have lights that are on. And when we replaced the windows in the building, when we first bought the building, it was one of the first things we did. I was like, no, I am proving that someone owns this and loves this building. And one of the neighbors actually told me, he said, it's not a good idea to replace those windows. They're gonna get shot out or someone's gonna throw a rock through them. Shouldn't do that. And I said, I am believing that my neighbors don't want buildings with boards on the windows. I trust this neighborhood. I trust my neighbors. Guess what? They've never been touched. We had thousands of dollars of construction equipment in those buildings that you could see right through those windows the entire time. No one bothered it. Every piece of your community is worth investment. When you are on a mission to prove that you can be brave enough to care about your community, I can't describe the intrinsic value that comes from just being brave, being loud, sharing your mission, sharing your vision, being kind through the whole process. One thing I actually learned through that transaction was that perhaps people who own blighted properties don't want them to be blighted. Maybe they don't suck, which is actually what I thought before I bought this property. Maybe they bought the building with great intentions and life just happened. And so this transaction taught me that. That guy, we're still friends with him. And he knows he gave us a deal, but he also knew that we had the means to put the extra $300,000 into the buildings. And he trusted us to bring them back to life. And we took that seriously. And he lives a few blocks away, and he has visited multiple times to check it out. And it's just the coolest. Action speaks so much louder than words. And if you are a parent and you want to find a way to love on your community, there's so many different ways. You don't need money. Maybe you just need time, effort, expertise, whatever it is. Go give your gifts. Your community just may thank you for it. And you might end up adding an extra 4 G's to your bank account every month.